Are you in the market for a backpack sprayer for your golf course lawn? If so, you clicked on the right video. Coming up, I talk about my two sprayers of choice, the 24-volt Chapin and the Flowzone Typhoon 2. I'll weigh the pros and cons to help you decide which one is right for you. Let's get started. So I've been using both these sprayers for quite a while now. The Chapin I've owned for coming up on 3 years at this point, and the Flowzone Typhoon 2, this guy I've had for just over a year. As far as products that I put through them, everything from fertilizer to plant growth regulator to herbicides, they've both seen a bit of everything. They're both very, very well used. So I'm gonna go through the things that I like about them, the things that I wish were a little bit better between each of the units. So first, let's talk about the construction and what you get with each of the sprayers. So the Chapin has a 4-gallon tank, much like the Flowzone. And as far as construction goes, it's primarily plastic. So the tank's plastic, the wand is plastic if you really care about that, and then the carrier that holds the tip that you decide to run in the sprayer is also plastic. Now I can tell you, I've been using the sprayer for a while. I've not really had any issues with any of the parts being plastic, but if that's something that's kind of a deal breaker for you, something to keep in mind. As far as the tips that it comes with a red fan tip that works really well for spraying lawn care products. Again, this is the one that I put in here and I've been using for, primarily as the main thing that's been on this sprayer. It's also included along with it are like a cone tip. So it's like an adjustable cone tip that if you decide you want something like that. And it's also got this brass tip, which is, the best way to describe it is if you want to put out like a very direct spray, almost like if you're trying to put like a spray insecticide or something along the edge of a house, this tip would work well for that. Coming over to the Typhoon 2, again, you also have a 4-gallon tank with this sprayer. As far as the construction, it's a combination of metal and plastic construction. Compared to the Chapin, you can see that the wand is metal, it's like stainless steel, and then you have these quick disconnect fittings, which are really nice for changing the tips out. So as far as the tip that I primarily run on this is the green tip. I believe this is a 20-degree tip. This one works really well for lawn care products and for spraying the things I like to put on my lawn. Also included with it are a red tip, which is kind of like a jet type sprayer tip along the lines of what the brass one for the Chapin is like, and also like an adjustable cone. So I don't use either one of these. It's primarily the green tip. One benefit, if you really care about that, is that the Flowzone has a carrier for both of these. So if you like to have the tips with you in case you want to swap them out if you're somewhere for whatever reason, if you want to do that, the Flowzone is better in that regard compared to the Chapin where I just kind of have those in a drawer somewhere because there's no way to actually keep them on the sprayer itself. So as far as like a run times and batteries, so with the Chapin, you get a runtime of about 2 hours. Again, I've never really run it for 2 hours to see that it if it'll actually last that long, but I can tell you I've got 12,000 square feet and I've never had an issue with either sprayer, the batteries going dead before I finished the job that I was trying to take on. So 2 hours for this one is what the battery's rated for, that comes with the Chapin. And then as far as the Flowzone, the battery that comes with it is rated for 3 hours of runtime. Both batteries have meters on them, so you can see how much life is approximately left in the batteries. Now, on the topic of batteries, this is one area where the two sprayers have pretty big differences, and it can make a difference, on the longevity of the electronics when it comes to using these. So when it comes to the Chapin, the battery simply slides in down here along the bottom. It just slides on the base of the tank, kind of like that, and connects in. And while that's really simple, it's a really simple design, really easy to use, the negative to that is that if you're filling the tank with water or whatever you happen to be putting in there, and any of it runs off, which tends to do whenever you're putting products in a tank, you're filling it up, it's gonna run right down into this area where the battery is. And there's been people that have had issues where the life of the battery's been shortened because you've gotten it wet. I've personally not run into that issue, but I could see how that's kind of, you could look at it as a design flaw of some sort. Now compare that to the Flowzone. They have a dedicated battery compartment. So you can see here, you got like a rubber seal around here that seals this off. The battery drops in like so. And then when this closes in, it's sealed off. So even if you get water on this, if you overfill it, you're not gonna get liquids into any of the contacts or into the battery itself. So, as far as design, which one is better from a battery standpoint, they gotta give the nod to the Flowzone. Definitely better there. Now, as far as pressure, so let's talk about like whenever you're gonna put these down and like as far as, what kind of pressures that each of these put out. The Chapin is rated for up to 40 PSI of output. That's what it puts out. The Flowzone is quite a bit higher than that. The Typhoon 2 is way higher than that. So it's a dual output, or you have two settings that you can run the sprayer at. The one that I have is a Flowzone Typhoon 2. This one supports 2 spreader settings. So you see one here, one that's the 70 PSI setting, and then 2 like that is 115 PSI setting. So what's really cool about that, as far as your ability to output products quickly, the nod definitely goes to the Flowzone. The Chapin, as far as walking time, it's going to take you about 180 seconds to put out a gallon of water, a gallon of product mix. Whereas with the Flowzone Typhoon 2 at the higher rate, we're talking like 91 seconds. So it's way faster. The thing about this sprayer is that literally as fast as you can walk, this guy will put out product at a rate that gets you putting down a gallon over 1,000 square feet. So nod to the Flowzone in that space, right? So I think that's one big advantage if you're a person that likes to walk fast and get things done. If you're a lawn care professional, you probably would like that aspect of it more, because you're able to get on and off the lawn a lot faster than you can with the Chapin. So let's talk about actually using them, right? As far as like filling them up, things that I like and don't like. So one thing you'll notice is that both of them, the opening is quite a bit different. So as the Chapin as they come off, you can see that both of them have baskets for protecting, keeping debris and stuff out of them. But the opening on the Chapin is quite a bit bigger than that on the Flowzone. So if I pull the baskets out, this is one area where I wish I could take this aspect of the Chapin and put it on the Flowzone. Now, you ask yourself, why would you want a bigger opening? Why is that a big deal? Well, whenever you're dealing with some herbicides, like say you're spraying like a pre-emergent like prodiamine, and you're using something like this to mix it to keep it suspended. Again, there are other types of mixing instruments other than this, but the idea is that with the Typhoon 2, because that opening is so small, you really got to be spot on as far as how you insert it and run the drill to keep everything suspended. Whereas with the Chapin, because this opening is so much bigger, you got a lot more leeway. It's way easier to get this in there, find a good spot for it, and to keep it running without like banging around and that kind of thing. So again, from a standpoint of like if you're dealing with a lot of products that require that you suspend them both using some kind of a mixing tool, I would give the nod of the Chapin over the Flowzone in that space. Now, another thing I would give to the Chapin over the Flowzone that I really like is the way that the cap is sealed. So with the Flowzone, you have this green cap, and in it there's like a rubber ring, a rubber gasket type I guess thing, this like rubber seal that's just laid in here. And what tends to happen over time, and again, I've only had this for about a year now, but what tends to happen is this guy doesn't necessarily stay captured. It tends to get pinched a little bit as all the cycles of on and off. And I've had more than one time where literally I've been putting this on and it's fallen into the tank. And I gotta tell you, it's trying to fish this thing out when you got a tank full of product is not fun. So that's one thing about this that I don't like. I wish that they would do something a little bit better just with the design as far as capturing this to where it doesn't fall out quite as easily. Now compare that to the Chapin, like the basket that's used for their filter, the seal is part of that. So there's no way, this is not really coming off. When it goes on and you put the cap on, this seals really, really nicely, and there's no chance of this O-ring coming off and falling into the tank. So this is one thing about this one that I kind of prefer as far as the Chapin over the Flowzone Typhoon 2. Now, as far as like comfort, now we really have to give the nod to the Flowzone on that one. So I'll turn these guys around. You can actually see here. So if you look at the straps, the padding that's on the Flowzone, and then the straps and the padding that's on the Chapin, there's a pretty big difference. With the Chapin, you get these straps that are to call them comfortable and heavily padded would be very, very generous. It's got like this like hook system that kind of just catches onto the frame here to hold the strap in place. So it's not the best design. It's kind of it almost looks like the straps honestly were kind of an afterthought, to be completely honest. With the Flowzone, you've got really thick, really thick padded straps. You've got a heavily padded back strap. And then as far as how it attaches, you've got these loops that it attaches to up here. And then underneath, there are some hooks that the bottom part of the strap goes into. And the Flowzone also has a waist, like I guess a waist strap, so it can go around your hips and can help hold some of the weight that way too. So from a standpoint of comfort, as far as which one is nicer to wear for extended periods of time, there's not even a comparison. This guy is far, 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 far superior. So those are the primary things. Now, the next thing you're probably asking is, okay, the Flowzone seems like it's better in a lot of ways. What is all that awesomeness going to cost me? And this is where, you know, the difference really stands, kind of separates the two of them. Where the Chapin, you could typically get this guy for around $160 online on Amazon. Like before I made this video, I checked, and these are going for around 160 bucks on Amazon. Just full disclosure, I'll have links in the description for both of these if you're looking to pick one of them up. But this guy goes for about 160 bucks, and then the Flowzone Typhoon 2 is right about double at $320. So it's quite a bit more expensive than the Chapin. Is it twice as good? I think it depends on how much you value your time and how quickly you want to get products down in your lawn. If you don't really care that this guy can, you know, output products or put it down like really over twice as fast as this guy, and you know, if you don't really, that's not a big deal to you, the Chapin's a really good value proposition. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like them because of the plastic construction and having the battery down here, but I've personally not really had any real issues with it. The Flowzone, though, as far as like just being built like an absolute tank, it's tough to beat this one. So this guy is twice the price. Really comes down to your budget and what's really important to you. As far as the tips go, there are a lot more options for tips for the Flowzones. If you want to put like a T-jet on or something else, you know, because of this quick disconnect system, it's really easy to swap tips out. And there are, you know, the company and other manufacturers makes tips that drop onto this with no issue. So if you just want a little more flexibility as far as how you run the sprayer, how you want to set it up, I think you have to give the nod to the Flowzone. Now, regardless of which one of these that you decide to go with, calibrating the sprayer and knowing how long it takes the sprayer to put out 1 gallon of product and then matching that with your walking pace is hugely important to getting a good result with either one of these sprayers, regardless of which one you decide to go with. To help you with that, I got a video right here that you can watch next that covers that topic in detail. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.